Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to FYI. For your information, it is the 16th day of November already. Well, you all know we're in Christmas now. We are right there, folks. Right there. Month's finished. November is finished. Once you get to the 16th, you draw your pay, you no longer have any interest in the month. It's done, it's gone. Good to have all of you joining us on the live this morning. And sure, Jolly Anderson and Cheryl Glenn, Edward Brooms, and all the other folks joining us, that you share the live, you smash that emoji button, good folks. Audrey Ward, the other people joining us, the other folks joining us. Kyle Bino is here as well. All the tubers, according to Kyle, all the tubers. Good to have you folks on the live. Randy J, good to have you this morning. Randy says it's cold in New York City. It's cold in New York City. Oh my God. Sending you some of this heat. We got a lot of heat here. Send you some. Send us a fraction of that cold there. Janelle and Edward Brooms, let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. LN Austin, rich people name. LN, that's all I need to know. Austin. Sheena Hazel is here. Leslie Charles is here as well, folks. To all those of you who are joining us from the many varied, myriad places, folks, share that live for us. Share the broadcast. Smash that emoji button. Quite a few of you already with us this morning. Number of things we circling back to some of what Delcy said last evening, folks. We're gonna circle back to that. You know, valid and credible information all the way. We're gonna circle back. A lot happening, folks. At our end. How are you folks doing? How was the morning started at your end, good folks? How was the day started? Hope you guys have hit the ground running. Don't take no prisoners, especially them boys. You see, and Kishan reminding us of something. You see the three squares? Huh? Y'all done give away the whole thing. Don Joe, Stephanie Pearson. You see that the three squares? Kishan, Ramchitan. You see that the three squares? Audrey Ward, Donald Harding, George. Good morning to you folks. Ellen Austin, of course. DH George. Donald Harding, George. Kishan Sharma, Ramjadan. Good to have all of you. Pam Halls. Great to have all of you on the live this morning. It's a privilege being here with you, Kyle and Evelina Whitaker. Good to have each and every one of you here with us, folks. Share that live. Smash that emoji button for us. We got quite a few things we want to get to this morning. Pace and power at our end, folks. A lot happening in the morning papers, and we start in Trinidad because some of what's happening there, you know, it's very, very, very important. We should be hearing that kind of talk here. We should be hearing that kind of talk. If we hear that, you see, people want to bring down crime and such and so forth, and letter in the Newsday out of Trinidad. See, Kamala making herself something, you know. She's making herself something. Let me quote part of what this letter writer say in the head of this letter to the editor. A blame game of political inaction. Trinidad got a terrible crime problem. We just behind, you know, just behind. Right? Just behind. She says it's this is a letter right here in today's Newsday out of Trinidad. It's disheartening to witness the blame game and lack of urgency being placed in crime. The citizens of Trinidad deserve swift action and a united front in tackling the crime crisis. It is crucial for all parties involved to set aside political differences and prioritize the safety and well-being of the people. You see, it says that the lack of urgency in forming a committee, especially in the Trinidadian opposition, only exacerbates the issue. This is what happens when people have a concern for their country. We love to work with the government at our end. Debbie Collins, Donna Joseph, Dolly Anderson, Marcy Agard, Dardil. We love to work with the current administration, regime, albeit. When them boys believe they got all the answers to the problems in this country, they believe they alone got what it takes to serve and solve this country's problems. You see? They want us to tell them it's not 83 square miles. Big Sahib, Commissioner, this thing here about 83 square miles is How dare you? They're like Delcy Rodriguez for the ICD. How dare you? Tell me what it is. You're listening. Sabrina Doris, Alessio Wardine, Kyle Biner, you're not listening. One of them is the real culprits. Trinidad wants to tackle its crime problem. You see? But they got to pick up the pace. We here too. We ready to work with the government. We ready to bring substantive ideas to the fore. We've been pushing them out there all the time. But them boys are listening. That's why we're in the kind of silliness we're in. They're not listening. Blame game of political inaction. It seems we live in parallel lives here, folks. It would seem, Deborah Leach, Rachel Selby, Forbes, Meduse, we're living parallel lives. It would seem so. How are you folks doing this morning? Yolanda, all the Yolandas, a number of them are the like this morning. Linden in our veins. Yolanda out of New York. How are you doing? Maybe all them out in New York. You just never know. Maybe all Yolandas from Linden. You just never know. Debbie Collins, how are you doing there, Debbie? Rock and come in. Brenda Moore, we see you as well. Marcy Agard, we see you too. Ingrid King. Ingrid, how are you doing? Every thanks for the thing. By the way, Ingrid, thanks for the thing. A blame game of political inaction. That sounds like these boys here. The right hand never know what the left hand do it. Some of what we're picking up, good folks, out of Trinidad. Dart David, Dart George, Donna George. Good to see all of you on the live. You see? But instead of us sitting down with a crime prevention man, we need more than just some small movements around Christmas time. You put a boot here, a two policemen there. We got some good folks in the force. But too many of our policemen harassing our citizens, especially those who are in charge of traffic. There's more harassment than some kind of a mobilization effort to better traffic management. There's more harassment than anything else. I saw some folks pointing out quite recently a video circulating on social media and on the dark web. One commuter said, I tired of this particular policeman. Right? I didn't know all the gist of it. That's why we decided we aren't going to show it. You see, we ain't going to slander and libel people just like that. Folks, hundreds of you are already watching the show. But it reflected in the shares and the likes. Folks, this helps. Let me tell you why this is important. When you share the broadcast, you like that emoji, or you love it, or you put an angry face because you're just vexed with these folks, the install regime. It tells Facebook something, you know. It tells YouTube something, folks. We just try to we study this thing. It's a science. It's just something interesting is happening. Let me share this. It's like you with cousin Derek, David and Bartica. Right? Cousin Derek got a piece of hot news. She said to the neighbor, John, hear this one here now. Same thing happens with Facebook and YouTube. When you start sharing the life, it says to other people, look, something happening here. Hear this Jacobite he's saying now. Folks, a very good Thursday morning to you. I have to rush off just after this program. We're meeting with the fact-finding team today among the other entities and organizations are also meeting with them. I have a meeting with them this morning. Rihanna Mingo, how are you doing out there? How is Sparkle City? Is Sparkle City on with us this morning? Marla Pandey watching from Carmichael Street. Marla's watch bold, not like some of us. Some of us got a peep because we want to know them boys watching us. But not Marla. Marla's boldly watch. Who's there? It's some of y'all. Some of y'all peeping. Jolly Anderson, how you doing out there? Mr. 83 square miles. Should be sitting down trying to craft the plan. We gotta arrest crime. But like 83 square miles, don't give away. This country ready? Don't give away ready, folks.
I've lived in Guyana and I've attended Montelato School. And from my primary days in school to secondary school, I've learned and I've understood that Guyana covers 83 square miles of landmass. I didn't hear that. Square miles, I said that. I said 83,000 square miles. You don't listen.
It's not the commissioner of police acting, Clifton Hickens. It's us. Look, folks, let me admit something. We big. We big. We got we age. Let's admit something. And when you get big like us, Donald, we big, but we still looking good. Donald Joseph, you know we got a turtle flesh. Chandel Moses, you know we got a turtle flesh. You get big, y'all, your hearing start going and so on. Folks, hold on. Let me tell you how I know I get big. Right? I mean, let me tell you how I know I get big. You see, you got to gracefully, the Desiderata says, surrender those things of youth. Margaret Nelson. Folks, I was spending a weekend by my mother-in-law. Look like an embarrassed Duncans everywhere now. I was leaving to come to Georgetown to get a show done after spending a weekend there. Everybody was sleeping. All around, there wasn't a sound in the house. I couldn't find the gate key. Margaret, hear the story now. Debbie Apple, that's quarantine. I couldn't find the keys to the gate. I don't want to disturb anybody. I like that. You see, when Margaret invited me to spend a week by her, I am like that. Yeah, she's going to invite me to spend a week by her. I like to move like a cat. You see, quiet Michael Reed. I couldn't find the gate keys. But here's the story now. Here I can embarrass Duncans everywhere. Marine to Chester Paul, we big. We still looking good. But let me acknowledge, we big. I decide now, Chandel Moses, Valerie Clark, I can jump the fence. I got up on this fence and I see the palings, see if you know how they look like a spear. Watching me, sir, up close and personal. And I can't get over the other side. I can't get over. I used to share the big. I marked the spot the day I knew like a big. You see? And I made a note to self. Don't let me do this again. Note to self. Don't let me do this again. Folks, when was that moment when you realize you get big? Besides somebody telling you, big auntie, big uncle. Sometimes people just realize it for you. You know, you in town going wrong somewhere, somebody say, big uncle. Big uncle. You see, we big. Right? Yesterday was the day the commissioner of police realized he big. It's not he, it's me. You gotta listen. You gotta listen.
I've lived in Guyana and I've attended multilateral school. And for my primary days in school to secondary school, I've learned and I've understood that Guyana covers 83 square miles of landmass. I didn't hear that. Square miles, I said that. I said 83,000 square miles. You don't listen.
The day you realize you get big. Or when that was the day, when was that day you realize I big now? Beatrice Selby, when was that day on this thankful Thursday, Beatrice? Godfrey, Margaret. Margaret says 83,000 square meals. Only Margaret. 83,000 square meals. When was that day, Margaret? You realize I big now. The Desiderata says, gracefully surrender the things of youth. That lecturing and so on, the history lesson, gracefully. Right? Now when the commissioner of police comes out, he says, guys, it is alleged. It is alleged. Margaret says 83 square meals. Can be square miles of this country. Right? The day when was that day, Roy? Janice, Chandel Moses. You realize I big now. I big. Yesterday for the commissioner of police.
I've lived in Guyana and I've attended multilateral school. And for my primary days in school to secondary school, I've learned and I've understood that Guyana covers 83 square miles of landmass. I didn't hear that. Square miles, I said that. I said 83,000 square miles. You're not listening. I've lived in Guyana.
Moving on to other things, folks. Moving on to other things. You see, it's nothing like when you see when you look around the room and you're looking for confirmations. And it comments. You ever caught in a situation like that? The day you realize Eastern Duke, you get big. What I hear was big meeting late last evening. Right? Not the police force. So that old teachers meeting at Multi. All teachers, them people boxing back the books to see who class he passed through. Right? Julia Lewis just gave away 82,917 square miles. You all have been good with the maths. Yeah? 82,917. The day, late night meeting, all the old teachers, people boxing through history. You remember, I don't know if they do it now, but when I was going to school, you had a long register. Oh, you had to get good eyesight. The dice past teachers, you know. Them things fine, a little box you got tick. Right? I can understand now. I'm at the age now when I understand acutely Annette Cummins, Rena Cummins, Evelina Whitaker. I at that age now, I understand why your teacher used to say, Duncan, you come and help mark this register. You quiet and peaceful. Come and help mark the register, teacher. Give me a little box. Folks, I was reading something the other day, some instructions on a product. And the second time I realized that I big, I had to call my wife. I said, Babs, see what's saying here. See what's saying here. My glasses broke about 50 years ago. I never look back. Can't buy glasses in this country. It's a whole house you could build. I said, Babs, just take a look here. You know the boy eyes. The second time I can realize now that I beg. If you see those instructions, fine. I understand now why the teacher, and I'm sure Malapande realize it, and Evelina, why teacher used to come and say, check this thing here for me. Mark this register. Some fine little boxes. Fine. Yeah, we are past teachers long now. Right? Yesterday was the day, folks. Yesterday was the day. Welcome to FYI, each and every one of you. Wherever you're joining us from this morning. Share the live. We beg Shakira Phillips. Randy Cole, my boy from Georgia. Randy, when was that day you first realized a big? How far? Huh? You ever try to play young and your knees start buckling and shaking? Father have his mercy this morning. Randy, when was that day you realized I big? Right? No, folks, it's big story here now. Those of you in the diaspora, it's big meeting here now to find which multi. Will all the multi teachers converge? And the boxing through them registers late last night. Is you class he went in? I ain't seen the name here. Look out for statement, right? From the multi syndicato. Denouncing and disassociating. Randy thinking back, when was that day he realized he big? You can see a statement out of Multi Incorporated, Multi Group of Schools, a strongly worded letter, right? All of Multi has been brought into disrepute. Maria Vera, watch out for it. Think back, when was that day you realized you big? Folks, it's only so long, you see, you could be evasive and elusive from the truth, right? It's only so long. And you know there's a day, all of us, Mark and Nicole, this is the day it was. I realized I big. You could turtle flesh and all. Full head of hair and all. Full head of hair and all. You realize you're big. So while that's happening, good folks, Roy and all the other folks, as we are near the 3 squares, I mean near the 3,000, as we are near the 3,000 squares. And that's been happening. A lot's been happening. You got to know when you're getting big, your memory starts slipping. It's time to retire. You see? And that's why we were cooperating with the Commissioner of Police acting and say, Chief, go for your retirement, man. Let me bring in some young people who understand the 3,000 squares. But no, them boys want him there. Right? So he would forget all of their indiscretions, forget their sins, infractions, and so on. Right? Margaret says, I used to be enjoying the Sunday papers in Guyana. Right? Naomi says she got the turtle flesh too. Naomi said talking about turtle flesh and she believes that talking about hers too. Naomi looking proper. Folks, the Attorney General says the submissions yesterday by the Venezuelan Bolivarian Republic were biased and completely prejudicial. AG and Landilal. I think this is the first thing we can agree on. And I don't even really want to agree with he. Honestly. Don't let me use the word agree. We share similar sentiments. I can palate that. We share similar sentiments. Right? Similar sentiments. But the Vice President of the Bullion Republic, the Venezuela Bullion Republic, Bolivarian Bullion Republic, she said, it's y'all, Margaret, playing the victim. It's y'all, Naomi, Serena Jacobs, Esther Blue, playing the victim. You see? It's not them with the military might. It's we playing the victim. God asks for you. Margaret played the victim. God asks for Raymond. Elizabeth is playing the victim. Cece Forbes. She says, Guyana, how dare Guyana come here before the ICJ and play the victim? Listen to your girl. Delcy Rodriguez. Barrett trainer under she for lie. Take a look. Take a listen.
In 2005, Venezuela created a program to supply energy on financial terms far more advantageous than those offered in the international market in order to stimulate development in the region. Guyana has benefited directly from this program, and its positive impact was recognized in its 2015 report to the WTO, World Trade Organization. For instance, Venezuela has come to supply 50% of Guyana's daily energy consumption. Moreover, it has set up compensation mechanisms by accepting Guyanese rice as payment for Venezuelan oil. Thanks to this program, Guyana's economy boomed long before ExxonMobil's so-called world-famous oil discovery, which incidentally had no impact on Guyana's human development indices. The highest level of socio-economic development since independence was achieved by Guyana thanks to Petrocaribe. In exchange, Guyana has repeatedly flouted the Geneva Agreement and international law.
Since 2015, after the ExxonMobil worldwide recognized discovery in the territory in dispute, Guyana has reneged on the Geneva Agreement and joined in the international aggression against Venezuela. It's in that same year that the United States declared that Venezuela was an unusual and extraordinary threat for their national security and put in place a criminal embargo against our economy. Guyana enthusiastically joined this multifaceted aggression plan against Venezuela. Firstly, from its seat on the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, it supported 15 of the 23 actions that were orchestrated against the sovereignty and the institutions of Venezuela, including the calls made by its Secretary General, Luis Maduro, for the use of military force and the calls aimed at denying the legitimacy of the President of the Republic and the state. Guyana then participated in a group of states that was created exclusively to intervene and attack Venezuela. Within this infamous Lima group, Guyana approved 16 interventionist declarations against Venezuela. Thirdly, Guyana has put its institutions and its territory in the service of the major powers that have always aspired to destroy Venezuela in order to grab some of the largest world reserves of oil, gold, and gas. The growing presence of the United States Southern Command and the frequent joint military exercises with the government of Guyana, along with hostile declarations aimed at threatening Venezuela, are public knowledge. I showed you a video.
C'était le président de Guyana.
That was the president of Guyana speaking along with his military forces, saying that he wasn't going to give an inch of its territory to Venezuela. When this of course is the territory in dispute. Yesterday, we were astounded to hear Guyana and Guyana's council's lies when they accused Venezuela of threatening peace and stability in the region. The fact is that Guyana, for several decades, repeated this baseless accusation, distorting the very facts in an attempt to shore up its position as victim.
Folks, that is just some of what Delcy Rodriguez said before the ICJ yesterday. Hundreds trapped, Molly done pop. Delcy make lying. Jack you the kind of lying. Look like child's play. The Attorney General of Guyana, Alain Landilal, says they were biased, the Venezuelan presentation, and completely false. That's what he said. And while the Venezuelans are ramping up their rhetoric at home, Irfan is off to a CARICOM Saudi Arabia summit. He was spotted with his boy Santoki. You know he had abandoned Santoki. You know he had abandoned Chandrika Prasad Santoki, the president of Suriname. He had abandoned Santoki for Mia. But after Mia dig the Jambi lash in he. Venezuela's been like a sister country to us. He's trying to come back now. Santoki still awesome fishing license 2 years on. 2 years on, we're still waiting for those fishing licenses. Yeah. When you find a pacu, you got to bust it back. Pompeo found the pacu. Catfish. What happened to the lifting of the catfish ban? All the whining and dining of Sarah. The long goodbye, Sarah. Catfish ban still intact. And then Suriname find a pacu as well. But we supposed to get 100 fishing licenses 2 years ago. But like he grooving him back now. He grooving him back. Since he's been abandoned and forsaken by Mia Motley for her higher calling. You see, she's campaigning for Secretary General of the United Nations, so she can't be seen with the ilks of Orphan Alley. No. And while he's smiling up with Santoki, begging for help, we heard in this moment here, Santoki said, buy your own. We ain't getting involved. We getting a little practice of Venezuela ourselves. We can't get involved. Sorry Big Sahib. Can't help. While he's off to Saudi Arabia, staying at the best hotels and so on, we heard that this sojourn here might go well past December 3rd. We see you. We see you there. Right? Back channels telling us, closer and closer we get to December 3rd. You can see a lot of overseas trips with ministers and such and so forth. Watch for it. Watch for it as we get closer to December 3rd and that referendum in Venezuela. So while they're out frolicking, drinking champagne and eating caviar or drinking caviar, however you want to have it. Caviar and champagne, enjoying the lifestyle of the rich and infamous. Delcy said, we stayed the course. That's what she told the International Court of Justice. Delcy Rodriguez, the woman who dragged your train on to lie. To lie. She said, we stay in the course. Listen to her again before the International Court of Justice just yesterday.
We come before this court to defend independence, sovereignty, and self-determination as the inalienable rights of our nation. We're here because Guyana has not only decided to abandon and transgress the Geneva Agreement, but now intends to flout the international order and promote a change in the Venezuelan political system through an interventionist and audacious action that seeks to instrumentalize the court against Venezuela. The line of action is clearly that of judicial colonialism. Consequently, on the basis of the UN Charter and the statute of this court, Venezuela reaffirms its categorical rejection of Guyana's audacious action to interfere in its internal affairs. Nothing will prevent the referendum scheduled for the 3rd of December from being held. Venezuela has a solid institutional system that guarantees the constitutionality and legality of the actions of public authorities. The system has been triggered and a ruling by the Supreme Court of Justice has confirmed the constitutionality of the referendum questions in Venezuela. Nothing is above the Constitution. Thirdly, the referendum is a single and indivisible process in its entirety. It represents the diverse visions and aspirations of a society. Venezuelans have the right to consult and listen to each other. No one can deny or divide this right. Finally, the state of Venezuela will not turn its back on what the people decide during the referendum. Madam President, members of the court, yesterday we all witnessed one of the worst ruses Guyana has devised in its false desire to present itself as a defenseless sheep and to portray Venezuela as an aggressor state, that is hindering its development and threatening regional stability and peace. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah, so that was Jack Joe's sister, Delcy Rodriguez, the lying queen, before the National Court of Justice just yesterday. But these folks are serious. How come Jack Joe didn't appear before the ICJ? The channelists. Delcy Rodriguez says nothing. Urban Don, Julia Lewis, nothing. Yolanda Thomas will stop Venezuela. You all heard a little bit there how she said, oh, we should pay careful attention to what the Venezuelan people say to us in this referendum. They don't want annex, according to them. They will not invade, but we can listen carefully to what our people say and act upon it. But we're not going to invade, though, or annex, but we can act on it. You see, this is Jack Joe's sister, they tell us, and the one under whom he learned to lie. She trained him. She trained him. And Delcy there, reminding me of Onage, small in stature, but there's some snakes. There's some snakes. You see? Oh, she looks like a quiet woman, doesn't she? If you and Delcy meet up in the dark alley, folks, run the other direction. Here I tell you. Run in the other direction. So if it is off to Saudi Arabia, they tell us staying at one of the best and most expensive hotels in Saudi Arabia. Garner Frolic might be back around December 15th, if back at all. But we're watching it. We're watching it. And that's from what's happening on that front this morning. We're still following this $214 million scandal out of the Ministry of Natural Resources here in Guyana, and how it is that one employee could have taken it upon himself, if you were to believe the folks, he now learned to lie under Jack Joe. You see how this thing happens? Ripple down effect. One employee unilaterally decided he's going to negotiate down these expenses. The next one supposed to give us back this money. He's going to negotiate. Now, Vikram Bharat has come out to say, right, that is one of his actions was one of inexperience. So they take out 15-day payout his salary and life goes on as per normal. He chalks it up to inexperience. Tommy Gibbs and Rhonda Gordon. He chalks it up to inexperience. You think you understand and overstand what's happening in this country? Corruption from the top to the bottom. Lying is an art form. We see where Jack Joe got it from. Delcy Rodriguez herself out front parts. Margaret George and Annette Cummins. He sat at her feet and received tutelage. At her feet, Vikram Bharat, another layman, he said, is inexperience of Bobby Gusai. His inexperience. It's not collusion. It's not corruption. Right? But when he says his experience, I didn't know really Naomi and Roxanne Garvey, Pierre Lecoq, it was his own experience. It was really Bobby talking about. You see? One can't tell these days. One just cannot tell. It's who we talking about. Lynn Finance, good to see you on the live this morning, Lynn. And Grace Samana Poole, great to see you as well. He says an experience. A next FPSO in production the big boat to pump out the oil and fetch it out. You heard Delcy says, Guyanese are benefiting from oil. It's when we used to give them, supply 50% of their power generation needs. They were thriving. You heard that? She said that oil has not produced any socio-economic benefit for Guyanese. It's when we used to help them out. You see? It's when we used to help them out. This new FPF, so Jaguar, so coming for pump more. The pumping sweet, so they're coming to pump more, Michael Reed. They're coming to pump more. But we feeling it. Guyanese everywhere. You feeling it? They said this one will be starting with about 600,000 barrels of oil per day. Just over that. And then they can start ramping up some more. Every day and night we pumping. You feeling it? John Jones? Huh? You feeling it? All the fun parts? We pumping, but we're feeling it. Right? Whatever little raise in salary, the tax half of it is negligible. Cost of living soaring out there. A slice of pumpkin is $1,000. But this is Manhattan. This is Manhattan. What madness is this? A slice of pumpkin is $1,000. Sweet Lord. Lord of mercy. So get set for that. 133 murders recorded thus far for the year. Crime chief admitted yesterday that it's going up, even though serious crimes are coming down. Well, we believe the part neither. We don't believe the part neither. So you see what we mean when we say that more has to be done because the things are going up. Right? But if you're 83 from 83,000, how are we going to help you? 133 is 133. Too many. And we believe strongly that a strong enough signal is not being sent. It's not being sent. Look, Ramona Lal, who lost her life in the Sunset Hotel. We out here talking every day about violence against women and girls. And Ramona Lal was in a violent relationship all the time. Her sister told the media that just the week before she met her demise in the Sunset Hotel, she was badly beaten by her husband. What could a woman do to deserve that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You see? And for me, that demonstrates a man that hates his own self. If she gives you a blow, move on. Move out if you can't take it. Right? A lot of men could give it. Pim, pim. Bam, bam. A lot of men could give it proper. But see the taking part? He is not an angel, but you are an angel. So there are lots of people trapped in these abusive relationships. And we seem only to talk about gender-based violence, violence against women and girls at some particular points in the year. For the photo ops, for the song bites. But are we doing enough? 133 murders too many. And if we look at the stats, we're going 130 women. 130. We got to do more. Yolanda, Orwin, Don, Yulex, Doris, we got to do more. So much more. You see? When you realize you get big? When did you realize? When the one gray hair pop up, plutups. I want to thank this team, female-led team, that produced a lot of joint hip replacements. Quite recently, you see. I'm not at that stage yet, folks. I'm not at that stage yet. You see? Quite yet. I'm gracefully surrendering though. Right? Hagaxi mama will make your mouth something. Gracefully surrendering. And Naomi, I want to thank the team. They did all this wonderful work at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation quite recently. A lot of hip replacement, about 30, I think they said, about 30 patients. See, got the hips replaced. Nice time. Nice time. So congrats on that front. Good folks, congrats on that front. All those folks who had your hip replaced, no doubt. Right? Nice time. Naomi Druckers, I ain't able for no man beat my skin properness. Right? Donna Daly says, knock back higher than knock. You onto something there. True words have not been spoken. Knock back higher than knock. Some weeks can't take it. Some weeks can't take it. Guy Expo opens this evening, folks. Guy Expo opens this evening. Right? And we got to be down there covering some of it. So if we don't have an evening broadcast tonight, which looks very unlikely, you know where we are. They know where we are. If we don't have an evening broadcast, you know, don't say you know. You know we'll be there. You know we'll be there. Carl Best, Leon Blair, Vanilla Garnett, Carl Jacobs. You know where we are. Guy Expo opens this evening. I think it runs until Friday. Yep, it runs until Friday. Saturday, rather. It runs until Saturday. Right? Another school stabbing. Remember we told you at the Golden Grove Secondary School in the East Bank, young man was beaten with a cricket bat. Right? Brain damage. Annes Groves Secondary School this time. A young man was stabbed. And we're twiddling our thumbs in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere, some of the best hotels. Ministers are reposed, scarce in our schools, and we ensure a very important editorial of the Sabbath News talking about this. Quite recently, Annes Grove is a theater this time where a student was stabbed. You see? And then we see this proliferation of narcotics on the market. Triumph Pharma remanded over narcotics. You know. And then the crosses, folks, the Jumbie bird, a tree fell in a house in Agricola. The fire service was able to help remove the tree. I hope the people get some help. You know, with the little repairs they're going to need to do there. Yeah. It's a lot happening, folks. There's a lot we're trying to track. We're trying to keep our hands on the pulse. It's a lot of things happening at our end. Right? And then we got to be watching at 83 Squares. 83 Squares. You got to be watching that too. Before we run and leave you guys, look some what's happening internationally. Quite important as well. Some what's happening internationally. And this is Turkey. Turkey has recently come out to say that Israel is a terrorist state based on what's happening in that conflict, in that war with the Palestinians, the fight for Gaza, row for Gaza. Turkey, I find that these despots and tyrants are becoming increasingly more bolstered. You remember when Erdogan was on the ropes? You remember when Maduro was on the ropes? Why are they so emboldened now, Tommy Gibbs? How come they're so emboldened now? Let's start there. How now, brown cow? They're so emboldened. Erdogan was fighting for his political survival quite recently. And apparently the world still needs tyrants. And so did they wrong. Did they wrong? Maduro. Right? The referee was about to do the count. 1, 2, 3, you're up. And as they said it, I don't know if they still see it in wrestling. I don't watch much now. And he kicks out. He said, Maduro's still here. Till he's threatening. With referendum and annexation. Yeah. Erdogan says Israel is a terrorist state. Yeah. Emboldened. No doubt emboldened. See, Marcia Kaya. These are the things we contend with. But look, story here now. Impending eruption. And it's in one of the most unlikely places. One of the most unlikely places. This impending eruption that we're following. This is Iceland, folks. Iceland's potentially imminent eruption of the Reykjanes Peninsula. It says a church is a 1,000-year cycle of. It has a 1,000-year cycle of volcanic activity, right, that will likely cause eruptions for centuries, according to scientists. And they're watching some activities there currently. You wouldn't necessarily associate Iceland with volcanic activity. Right? But it is what it is, folks. Impending eruption. That's like us. It is the December 3rd fraud and fake referendum. It's kind of like that, isn't it? Impending eruption. That's what the folks are saying. Cardas, it is what it is. And as we were talking earlier on about what's happening there in Palestine and Israel with the conflict, protesters at the U.S. Capitol clashed with police quite recently. And I saw some protesters here on this issue. They come out a day and they gone back in. Right? Some people say it's only opposition can hold a protest. They come out in the Palestinian flag. They're supporting Gaza. They're supporting Gully. And then they run back in. You see the sun out there easy, you know. You got to be a real stalwart. You know, in the sun. That's not easy. Right? And they have no clash with police. They were given free courts. They were given free course. But protesters who feel strongly on the side of the Palestinians clash with protesters, clash with police on Capitol Hill. Yeah. Yep. So that's some of what we're following this morning. Good folks, and we're privileged to have each and every one of you here with us. Annette Cummins and Sheena Hazel and Lionel Simon, Leon Harding. Good to have all of you on the live. Beatrice Selby. Folks, as I said, we're heading off to an important meeting with that fact-finding team from the U.S. I see a lot of letters in Chronicle, you see, about this fact-finding. You're going to know our levels negative. As soon as I say Chronicle and letters about the fact-finding team, you should know where it's going. A lot of letters in the press about the work they're doing. We're meeting with them this morning. The Alliance for Change and the APNU, we're meeting with them this morning and, you know, telling them what we know, showing them the evidence. And then this evening, we got to be out there at Guy Expo as well. We want to bring some of that to you. Kamal Prasad, good to see you there. Vice Chair, Region 10. Right. Good to see you, Kamal. So we're going to be out at Guy Expo this evening. Again, see what's happening there, what's going down. Don't let me pretend everything is well. It's not. It's not. And if the Venezuelans have their way, it's trouble out here, folks. Real trouble too. Marcia Jack, Alexis Chamley, Melanie Adams, and Rhonda Gordon, Edward Brooms, Veronica Premo Rollins, all the folks from North, Don Joe and Dan Abrams. Good to have had all of you guys on the live. Let us pray for our country. You know, I think Carl Granit said it best. Our hope is in the courts. We understand as people of faith, your hope is in a higher power. But in this judicial process, Delcy says judicial colonialism. Flap you, Delcy. Flap you. We'll put our trust in this judicial process. Folks, that's going to do it for us. At this end, I want to thank all of you for being on the live and being good company. 800 plus of you. Before you all run off, share the broadcast. Before you run off, folks, smash that emoji button as well. You all know we need your help to keep going. We got that secure link to accept contributions via credit and debit cards. And all the other platforms remain available, folks, at Cash App and Zelle and PayPal, MMG, MoneyGram, Western Union. And of course, we continue secure link. Contribute via your debit and credit card. Very, very secure link. You can hit us up on 627-6963. Hit us up, on 627-6963. Folks, across social media, close to 1,000 persons watching us. We count it such a privilege. You're heading into town and you need a good justice of the peace. Commissioner votes to affidavit. Good folks. For all the documentation needs, you have a fantastic team. Down there, the Alistair Collins firm, there, the Callion Mall on Lamaha Street between Camp and Waterloo. On Lamaha between Camp and Waterloo, they're closer to Waterloo for all the documentation needs. Good. Fantastic team. 627-6966. My God, call the wrong number. 649-6410. 649-6410. 649-6410. 685-6448. 685-6448. Good people. For all the documentation is, we want to recommend them highly. Folks, thanks for joining us this morning. Yeah. Thanks for joining me this morning. It's not easy out here, folks. Not easy out here. You gotta deal with the any and the all sorts. Not easy at all. But we're gonna keep doing what we gotta do. You see? We can keep doing what we gotta do. It's not 83 squares. It's 83,000. 83,000 squares. So we can continue to do what we got to do. I just want you all to know, just in case you didn't know, it's 83,000. But we can keep doing what we got to do, folks. Thanks to all of you for joining us on the live this morning. It's been a privilege being here with you. We got with us here. We got Kamal Prasad, of course, and Vanessa Wardeen is here with us, and we got Roxanne Garway, Maureen Chester Paul is here with us, Anthony Jarvis, Dan Mitchell is here. It's 83,000 folks. Dan Mitchell and Roxanne Garway, Anthony Jarvis. Folks, if you haven't shared the live yet, I know some of you are dropping off. We got over 700 of you still with us. Do us the big honor, sharing their lives so others get valid, credible information as yet. And folks, that's going to do it for us at this end. Marcy Agard, Lisa Remy, good to see you, Lisa, Vanessa Ward, and Kyle, and Facebook user. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. It's been such a privilege being out there. Debbie Collins, we see you there as well. And as Debbie says, finally, have a blessed and productive day. Julia, Diane, Shallon, right? I see Diane just finish here. Yeah, be like Diane, man. Right? Be like Diane a little bit, man. Take training on the good people now. Is it Diane though? They call it wrong name. Or it's Julia. Onessa rather. Onessa said, I finished sharing. You'll be like Onessa now. Train on the good people. Folks, that's going to do it for us at this time. That's my time. Fortunately or unfortunately. And that's our program. Great to have been here with each and every one of you. Karen, Mohammed, Karen's going, no, I see you. Like you just come, Karen. Well, it's on demand. You can watch back our broadcast all the time. It's on our Facebook page. It's on our YouTube channel especially. We try to curate them in order for you so it makes it easier for you to find final and watch. Marcy, Karen, and all the other folks who are joining us. That's my time.